This episode of My Bloody Judy is sponsored by HorrorPress.com. Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
Because we cannot get Scream off the brain, we have decided to do more Scream episodes until we can kind of like move on just a little bit. We are today going to be doing a Scream Ghostface tier ranking. I've wanted to do a tier ranking on this channel for a good long while. One time me and my buddy Troy did one for Britney Spears' Street Looks, and it was like a really fun episode. And so we're going to be doing one for the Ghostface killer. There are 14 total, including Scream 6. By the way, this will have spoilers for Scream 6, so if you have not seen it yet, go watch that movie. Make sure to come back over here right after you're done. So in 6, there are two false killers who begin their plot. They're not false. They begin their plot. They're the killers of Samara Weaving. And we're going to combine those into one, so that'll count as 2, that one picture. We have 4 categories. We were going to do 3, but I just went ahead and added 4 because we had a couple really good quotes. Our top creme de la creme of ghost faces, an American hero right out of the movies. Our absolute favorites. Right down from that is, I like that ending. We love them. They're wonderful, but just short of greatness, right? Then we've got a little bit more meh. It never works out for the dipshit in the mask. And not in my movie, where we just are... Shitheads, shit faces. That's all they are. They shouldn't be in a ghost. They shouldn't be in a Scream movie.
I gotta say, I'm pretty happy. I'm like very proud that you used three of these are quotes.
I did. I asked Ian, hey, come up with, I was going to do Gale quotes, but then I was like, well, let's expand it. So I asked Ian for Scream quotes that he could come up with. And then there's what's our theme? There's a lot of pictures, but I had to tell him what a damn tier ranking is. I had to send him a video so that
I am not a YouTuber, Zachary.
Oh, goodness. All of these pictures are doubled, but we're only going through 13 of them, okay? So we will start with, I guess we'll just start from the very top. Let's start from the beginning of the actual like entire franchise. I think is a good way to go. Oh goodness, we're gonna be having my emails come up. Okay, so first off, we have Billy Loomis. An American hero right out of the movies, right? Yeah. This is going to go by so fast. We have to give a little bit of reasoning here. Listen, Billy is just that kind of mastermind that all ghost faces have really wanted to live up to since his debut. You know, he was brutal. He was unrelenting. He used anybody and everybody. He used Sidney. He used Stu, his co-ghost face, and just had probably the coldest heart, or one of the coldest hearts out of all of them.
Yeah, like he never did it for like revenge or to get like. I like if he wasn't dating Sydney, she just wouldn't have been involved, right? Like, or she would have been someone who was killed randomly. He wasn't doing it. Well, no, I guess it was because of her mother, but I feel like he still would have done it, right? Like he just like wanted to kill people. It feels like
I feel like he wanted to kill people, and it would have manifested at some point,
like as something else, right?
Yes, but because he did have that motive, he was driven by anger. He was an angry little boy, and his partner, Stu Macher. Okay. I get American hero. We're going to put him there. You good with that? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Stu is like, for me, the quote I have for this is that like the Stu Lives people are kind of annoying, but there's a reason they exist. And it's because he is like a really good killer. Right.
Okay, but then like let's kind of do the debating here between American Hero and I like that ending, because he wasn't actually any sort of mastermind. Billy was the mastermind, you know. Stu was very eager and willing to go along because of his love for Billy. I just watched about like 10 days ago. They had a Scream reunion panel with Nev Campbell and all of the guys and stuff like that. And I
sent you just sent that to me, right?
To the group, and Matthew Lillard was like, yes, Billy and Stu were gay, and just loved hearing it, right? And we did a whole episode about the queerness of Scream and how Stu just loved Billy, and that's how he was able to be convinced to go along with all of this. But masterminding, I don't know. Should this tier be reserved for the masterminds?
I don't think so. I mean, like if that's what the tier is, then yeah, I wouldn't put him there. But I think we're just doing it like by
Because
like
these aren't our favorites. We're going.
Right.
We're going.
Well, I will say with Scream Killers,
Okay.
I don't think there's much of a difference between my favorites and the best ones.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I would put a lot of them up on top if it were just played by favorites. But I think he would go, and I like that ending. Just short of greatness. I think Billy had the greatness. Stu had everything else.
I don't know. I would put him at the top. You could tell me right now to do this, and I would be able to do all of this. I know exactly where I'm putting all of them.
We got to be a little bit more brutal with this.
I know,
a little bit more cutthroat.
But
We're going to come
know-
back to Stu. We're going to come back to Stu.
All right.
Okay. As far as killer reveals, Mickey came first, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. I gotta have a partner. Okay. I
See-
love him. I love him, and he's one of my favorites. But as far as he's not a mastermind,
Yep.
he was a peg down from greatness, I would say. Like he was kind of just stabby stab, and if he hadn't had Mrs. Loomis to sort of guide him, I feel like he would have been caught on his own, just by getting messy. So it never works out for the dipshit in the mess. If there were any quote that would go with Mickey, I feel like that would be a really good quote.
I feel like that goes for all like the seconds that are killed by
Yes.
their partner.
Mrs. Loomis, she is like, she's pretty up there with her son. I say.
You know, I've been thinking
But-
about Mrs. Loomis lately
Okay.
because like I don't know if I think I've said this on the podcast before, but like when I saw the movie, Mrs. Loomis is absolutely the only killer I clocked right from the start. Like the moment she popped on screen, I was like, that's Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne. It's gonna be her. Like she's too famous to like have this weird role that doesn't matter. Like she's got to be the killer. I didn't guess that she was going to be Billy's mom or anything, but I was like, that's going to be the killer. And then I was right. And I didn't actually like, it took a while for me to come around on her performance as Mrs. Loomis with like the like wide-eyed, not blinking. Now I'm like, it's fun. It's camp. It's like intense, but like, I didn't like it at first. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I had to come around on 2. It took me a while to come around on 2 in general, but now I appreciate her. But I don't know, like when the movie came out and I saw it in theaters, I did not like her. Like I thought the acting was bad. I thought it was too silly. But now as an adult, I'm like, it's fucking fun.
It is really fun. It's really fun. She's just batshit banana crazy. Right from the eyes.
Yeah.
Right with the pantsuit. Like who wears that suit to go
Kill
for your
someone.
grand finale killing spree, right? Who the fuck does that except for Mrs. Loomis? We have she did a good deal of masterminding, right? So like upon learning of her son's death, she would have started scouring the internet for serial killers, learning how many serial killers there are active in the country. She finds Mickey, she nurtures him almost like a mother. That's some deep-seated planning, plotting, and just savagery, because she even fucks with Mickey's life, right? Had she not gone into Mickey's life, he still would have killed somebody, but you know, maybe he would have had no conscience, but
Well, I mean, but like he might have been alive. Like she doesn't just fuck with his life, she kills him.
I don't know. She entirely kills him. I would put her up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think just as far as all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Roman Bridger. I want to know where you would place him just right off the bat.
I think I would either I know where you would want to put him. I would either put him next to Mickey or at I like that ending.
You're a fucking psychopath. You're a psychopath.
I can tell you why.
And you can tell me why. Go for it. Make the
Because
case.
the only good part is the end. Roman is not a character that like you even think twice. Like I forget that he faked his own death as well because he sat next to Jennifer Jolie once, and like that's literally the only scene I can remember of his prior to his reveal. He's so minor, and I don't like that. Like even Laurie Metcalf, she is a minor character, but like you remember her like scenes prior to her reveal because it's like she has good interactions with Gail. They're like Gail tells her off. Like those are like fun interactions. But for me, he is one of. I don't love. It always bothered me when I was like a teen like a character that has no interactions with, like, he barely has interactions with any of the characters.
Yeah.
So that's what bothers me, is that like he's not memorable until he is, and he is memorable at the end. And I give him bonus points for not doing crazy eyes. I give him bonus points for like, he doesn't really change that much, right? He's just kind of like,
he's pretty calm and collected.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so for me, that gets bonus points because, like, okay, that's doing something different. He gets bonus points for being the only Ghostface that worked solo. And him and Sydney's battle is like, I know that that's one of your favorites, and I do think it's really, I do think it's good. It's not like I don't like it. It's just that prior to that, he's like a character that was nothing.
So then,
that's what,
okay,
like,
to kind of like give him a little bit more, the orchestrator of the entire first trilogy. That's
like,
fucking big. He was, though, in narrative chronological order. He was. That's that exists in the in this franchise. We even saw his picture in 6. He did that.
Finally like
That's
mentioned
pretty,
him.
I know, right? Like, please, can we just say this in He Had a Brother? Let's just go into the ridiculousness of it all. He did the first trilogy.
But he didn't tell them to like put on a ghost face mask and murder people. It was like he kind of like gave them a little push into that. Like they still like did the murders. It's not like, because I do. Okay, and also I hate a like retroactive thing, because like a good example is Buffy, my favorite thing. An episode that a lot of people love is Normal Again, and I hate throwing in the plot line of, oh yeah, she was institutionalized for a while. And it's like, why have we never mentioned that before? That shit bothers me. And we never mention it again.
If we're pretending this world is real, though, so like that is just what happened. It is just what happened. I'm going to stick him up there. Me and you are going to duke out Stu and Roman at the end. Okay.
I mean, I'm fine with you just moving this. What?
You got to care. This has got to be fun, Ian. Jesus, man.
Well, no, I mean, as long as he's not like at the bottom, like I'm okay. Like, I don't think that's like insulting to put him second. Yeah, then it's like, we'll fight. But like, I don't know, putting him second, it's like, that's okay. That's not a bad spot.
Okay. All right. So then we move on to Scream 4. Killer reveals were Charlie first, right?
Charlie first, yeah.
Charlie first.
So Charlie, I give some points to, only because he is part of like one of the best scenes. And like, aside from the Jill reveal, I think Kirby like listing off all the fucking movies and her beating Ghostface and then getting stabbed feels more brutal. And I do think that's a good reveal, right? It's like she's trying to save him, but actually he's in on it and he's just like trying to kill her. I think that is a good reveal, but like that's kind of it.
Well, and as Ghostface, because I guess we also have to consider them in costume, right? Brutal kills. He has zero personality when he's out of costume, but in costume, absolutely brutal. The Olivia death, fucking wild. You know, one of the craziest in the franchise.
I know. Anytime like people are like, ugh, like whatever about 4, it's like, no, there is a moment when a girl's guts are like around her room. I don't know what you're talking about. It's
in front of her best friends, and he like waves her body outside of the window in front of them.
Yeah, like that's brutal.
So if we're considering in costume too, I guess just for kills alone, it would have to go a little higher.
I don't know. I'd still say put him at the bottom.
Brutal. I'm down.
Someone's got to be at the bottom. Like, you know what I mean?
For it. You know what? Let's go for it. Okay. Jill. I'm not even going to argue with you. We're going to talk about it. Yes. The most cold-hearted bitch I'd ever seen in a Scream movie. Okay. And Billy was cold-hearted, but Jill.
Right. Because Jill, it's like her family that it's not like she's getting revenge because something happened badly. It's like she's just killing because she's like, I'm tired of Sydney. I want to be famous. Like, there's not like ooh, Sydney, like, you know, his mom fucked my dad or whatever bullshit. It's just, I'm tired of my cousin being famous. I want to be famous. And I'm like, I love that shit. And I do think her Ghostface reveal is the best one, right?
And it's the best one. It's one of the best ones. And just as far as brutality, you know, from the very beginning, planning that she was never going to have a partner, that she needed to like get a stupid boy to go along, kill things. Whereas like Billy, you know, could have gone with or without Stu. If Stu died, it would have been whatever. But if he lived, it would have been also whatever. Jill was like, no, Soul Survivor, bitch. Soul Survivor. Let's up those Instagram followers, right? Let's get on the Twitter. I'm gonna be all over everywhere. All the books I can put out, movie rights.
And there's also like something to be said for like the idea of the final girl being the Ghostface, because like right, like we talked about this in our Scream 6 review. We don't ever want Sydney to be good. Like that's stupid. That's bad writing if Sydney became Ghostface. But a new final girl, like she's just in this movie, so we don't know her that well. So it's like, yeah, she could be fucking Ghostface, but you don't think of it when you're watching it, right? Like,
and continue. I'm sorry.
No, I was just like, really, it's like that for me. That's the biggest thing. Is like, I mean, granted, it's hard for me to be like separate seeing the movie 1,000 times from remembering the first time, but like it didn't cross my mind ever that she would be Ghostface. Like, she wasn't my suspect list. She was. I feel like I
did clock her a little bit. I think towards the end, I remember clocking her a little bit.
Her mom was on my suspect list more than she was.
Her like, mom was on some spacey. She
had some Xanax. Nothing wrong with
downers, exactly. Okay, and one of the biggest like accomplishments of Jill is how fucking far she got. She almost did it.
Yes.
Nobody else has almost done it like she did.
No.
Okay. It's Sydney's fucking like strong ass stomach. You know, Sydney's doing ab exercises all the time to strengthen that core, right? So when a knife goes in, her abs just go block.
She's like, it doesn't affect me.
And Jill almost fucking made it. It still like really pisses me off that they went the route that they did, because I wish she would have made it.
Because Jill is the only one that like the final battle, well, what seems like the final fight then goes on, right? There's not another one where like they go to a different location, right?
Yeah, and the final battle with her is like a little silly, but you know, when you think of, you kind of keep expecting somebody like Sydney to jump up or somebody to jump up and fight her at the very end. But no, we get this long, drawn out stabbing of herself, throwing herself into coffee tables, into the picture. Like she batshit bananas crazy times 10, truly. And she deserves to be right up there. An American hero right out of the movies. Literally a line about Jill Roberts. I love her.
So good.
I love her so much. Okay.
Zach's got that shirt right behind his head. The shirt she's wearing in that image.
I love it. I love it. There are a few of them, so I don't think that's the hero one that she had, but I'm glad to have one of them. All right. Scream 5, we had Richie and Amber. I'm very curious where you're at. And Amber was first, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, Amber is like, and you know I love 5, so just so everyone's clear, we love these movies. It's not like we're knocking any of them. I think Amber is like a Stu light. She definitely like tries to do Stu.
Yes.
But I do also think Amber has like one of the absolute best reveals. Like the moment when she shoots Liv and says, "Welcome to Act 3."
Yeah.
I like my jaw was like on the floor the first time I saw that movie. So like she gets a lot of bonus points for that because it is fucking cool. And she gets bonus points because Sydney and Gail kick the shit out of her, and it is very fun to watch.
A full fight. And she lives long enough to like really, she picks herself off the floor all burnt and crispy.
Yeah.
And still goes after him, you know.
So I'm curious where you would I would put her in the middle somewhere, but I'm
so when I
curious
first watched it, I wasn't impressed with the killer reveal. I just wasn't impressed. I thought that line was really cool, and like the camera movement and all of that, right? From a technical point, I thought all of that was really fucking fun. But it did take me a couple watches to really appreciate her, because I didn't like exactly what you said, the Stu light. I didn't like her doing her impression of Stu. Now thinking about it and sitting on it for a little bit longer, it would make kind of sense because she's in his house, right?
Yeah.
She's obsessed. She would even, like, teenagers often will emulate a personality before developing their own, based on somebody they idolize, which would make so much sense here, right? Her climbing out onto the front porch and saying, "Help me, he stabbed me."
So good.
The dramatics already are just like so wonderful.
I was once again rewatching that ending last night, 2 nights ago, and like it is so weird how accurate. Like I was thinking about so Zach, as I think we said this in our last, Zach is very good at being like, "Oh, this person's just being mean." You come into my mentions, and I have the time. If you're coming into My Bloody Judy or Slayer Fest 98's mentions, I always have the time, which is not going to say to encourage anyone, but literally her switch from like, he died like a pussy to, no, 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 I was radicalized,
Yes.
is how every fucking idiot online argues, where it's like, I remember someone on Slayer Fest's Instagram commented like, what the fuck are all those LGB alphabet letters? What's Latinx? I need a dictionary to read what your podcast is. And I commented saying, fuck you, you don't know how to read. And they were like, oh my God, I asked a simple question and you get all mean and
Oh,
toxic. And it's like,
exactly. Good example. Good example.
like that was Amber on my fucking Instagram.
So do you think that is her being manipulative, or do you think she is like just when she's backed in the corner really able to, she just backs down, like, and it's actually backing down? Because if she's actually backing down, if she can flip that quickly and like just back down that quickly, I'm gonna do Never Works Out for the Dipshit of the Mask. But if you think she's just being manipulative, I like that ending.
Because I think people who do that, like, I do think it's somewhere in the middle. Like, I think that person who commented again saying that I was being nasty genuinely thought I was being nasty, but like, I feel like there's a little bit of truth, but for me, she goes in either of those. Like, whichever one you pick, I'm like, yeah, sure. I think maybe I'd put her in. I like that ending because I do think she's being manipulative. Because isn't it right after that when she jumps on Gale and then like tries to choke her?
Yes.
So I do
she
think
does
it's
that like
like
3 times. She's like, no, wait, I was radicalized, guys. Please don't do this. I'll go with it. I like her. I just like her. I like the little spunk she's got. She probably should belong and Never Works Out because I feel like she wouldn't have gotten very far as a killer, but
without Richie.
And she got Dewey. We just have to remember.
You
that.
know what? Yeah.
She did him. She did him. All right.
We're not saying we like that, but it does give you Ghostface.
It gives a lot of points. Okay. Okay, Richie. I do not like Richie.
I felt like Richie was the one we would disagree on the most. I think Richie was one of the most surprising killers. Because but I think, and I know that like you're not as charmed by a guy like that. I am very charmed by a guy like that. So I was like full in on like him being the voice of the audience, him being like, holy shit, it's Ghostface. Oh, I'm binge watching the Stab movies on Netflix. Yeah. Like that shit made me love him. And when he stabs her and he's like, I know, it's a bummer. It's me. It's like, it is a bummer. It's you. And like, I like that.
The personality change does a lot, I think. Because he really is a voice of the audience, and he's comedic relief. You know, he says a lot. He's got a lot of really fucking funny lines in that movie.
Because I was positive he was just gonna die like in Scream 2. Yeah. I thought that we were gonna have something like that.
I wouldn't put him here because I don't think he's earned that. I would put him. It Never Works Out for the Dipshit in the Mask. But if you feel a little stronger about it, we can go up to I like that ending.
I put him above Amber.
Above Amber? Yes. What?
I just think that like it was a really good, because if you think about it, it's like fucking duh, we're redoing the first movie, so of course it's the boyfriend, but so like then, it didn't.
And he's okay. Well, and if you want to talk about age, right? Amber being a high schooler and him being like kind of the predator online who is able to radicalize her, right? Yeah. I guess I'd agree with you. I do, just based off logic alone, okay? I hate this motherfucker. I don't like him. But logic alone, we'll go with it. All right, we've made it to Scream 3. Now we've got 3 killers here. All Richie's family. Richie's
oh my God,
father.
It keeps confusing me because of all the pictures. I'm like, no, we got a lot more left, but no.
Oh, actually, yeah. Well, we do have the 2 killers who killed Samara Weaving, and they were planning on killing all the film professors and setting up a new Scream 6, right? But they didn't get to. So...
I put them not in my movie. They're the bottom of my list. Because like, how are you gonna be a Ghostface and your first time killing, then you get killed by a Ghostface? Like, you're not that good at it.
That really did drop them, did it? Because I think everything else I would be like, maybe it never works out for the dipshit of the mask, but dude, you got 1 kill. That's it. That's all you got. Now,
just 1.
Moving on to the 3, though, we've got Richie's dad, Richie's brother, Richie's sister. They didn't get very many kills either, but they still had more, and they still had more of a plot and a plan. You know, I want to know the story how the dad convinced his children to go on a murder spree. I think we were missing a deleted scene there.
Especially because, like, he says he doesn't like horror movies. But he's like, oh, they're always a little bloody.
They're all like, we don't give a fuck about the movies, you know? Let's start with who were the reveals first?
Well, the cop was first, right? Yeah, because he's like, yeah, of course it's me.
And then I feel like they revealed at the same time, but it was probably it was Ethan first.
Ethan first, Quinn. And then Quinn.
That's right.
Because Sam was like, only Mindy's left because she thinks Quinn's dead.
I don't feel like Detective Bailey did a whole lot, but I feel like he had the advantage of being a detective and able to use that to his advantage.
Yes. But I do think they're like, he's, again, it's like whatever, but his like Mrs. Loomis drag that he's doing doesn't quite land for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he comes out, especially during our second viewing, I noticed when he comes out, when like Quinn is dead and he's sad and he's like grieving, he's like, I want to kill them. And it's like, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. No, I don't like that. Because it just feels like so stupid. Which is not to say that like I hate him as a killer, but like I feel like I would put him like below Mickey.
Okay, below Mickey.
Because I think Timothy Olyphant.
Because he can't be down here because he can't be on the same level.
No, because he.
So we'll go with. I agree with that. We'll go with them. Now, Ethan. The more I think about Ethan, and I really want to see it a third time too. But the more I think about Ethan, I have even more of an appreciation for him. Truly, the looks that he's giving Mindy on the subway are so deranged and demented. Like she clocks him, but you know, he still is able to trick her, but he's like fully there and staring at us as well. Like, yes, I am the killer.
Yeah. And
stab.
I've seen a lot of people say that he was their least favorite of the three killers, but I think he was good because like he did seem like an unassuming like virgin nerd, right? Like, and like Mindy being so like aggressive about, no, you are the killer. I was like, oh, well, he can't be. I mean, not like I was upset when he was a killer. It's not like it was like, oh, I love that character. It was more like, oh, I didn't.
But he was also
once
able
we
to
got
turn
there,
it
it was
on
like,
and off pretty subtly.
Yes.
And so for that, I think I would put him in. I like that ending. I like Ethan. I actually like Ethan and Quinn both a lot. And as like two, they almost seem like hyena cubs when they kill together. And it's a little wild. Yeah. Quinn.
And he also gets he also gets. I mean, he gets two, but he gets two really good death scenes. The die a virgin and being fucking stabbed in the mouth.
Yeah.
And turning the knife is very good. Because also I wonder, like, what's your mouth looking like after that? Like, because he gets back up later, and I'm like, what? Is it just like soup? Like,
yeah. You know what? But I am going to bring him down. I think we need to bring him here. He's great. He's cool. But he kind of sucks as a Ghostface. Like, he's scary. He's deranged looking, and it's terrifying that he would stab you, but he can't really kill.
I just feel like a lot of them had to be Quinn because the two of them are like, and the two of them are like very much in scenes with the like gang together. So I feel like a lot of them had to be Quinn. But also, I love the idea. I mean, we'll get to her, but I love the idea of like she had to lay on that floor for like 20 minutes playing dead while everyone's like slip sliding around that apartment.
I know. And the fact that both of them did like go to such lengths to like get roomed with Chad and room with, you know, these other two girls. Cause you know, they were like vetting. It's weird that they didn't find out that they were like Richie's brother and sister.
That's the only thing that I'm like, when you, I mean, but it's Scream, so it's fine. But like when you like think about it a little too much, it's like they were in school together.
There's holes.
Yeah,
like we can ignore them because they were fun. I will put them on the same. I think I'm gonna keep them on it. Never works out for the dipshit of the mask anyway. Because like as a trio, their body count should have been more than anybody else. It just should have, you know.
And as we need to remind everyone who's saying this one has the most brutal kills, there are not a lot of kills in 6.
There's not a lot of kills in 6. It's bloody, but there's not a lot of kills. And then we just have everybody repeated.
And everyone else.
I am going to keep Roman up here. I'm fighting for that. So if you want to keep Stu up here, then that's our truce. We shake hands and we allow it.
But I'm okay with us bumping them both down. But you're not.
No, Roman's got the trilogy. He did the trilogy, man. I'm going to stand by. I stand by my baby. And he's cute. He's one of the cutest. Him and Mickey.
Oh God.
Him and Mickey are the cutest to me. I think they're yeah.
I think Billy and Stu are the cutest.
Do you think?
Yeah.
They're cute together, but
I like, so it's funny. The only thing, like, I joke that I've had the same taste in men, but not quite. As a, like, when I was younger, I definitely had a bigger crush on Stu. It was like, oh, he's silly, he's wacky, he's like the cool guy. But now as I'm older and more insane, I'm like, oh no, Billy would murder me and look me in the eyes, and so he's the hotter one.
And as a toxic gay, that's exactly what you fall for.
Yeah.
All right, are we shaking hands on this ranking?
Yeah.
We've done our first tier ranking, Ian. This was fun, wasn't it? We should do this for more. Final Girls edition. That's what we should do. That'll be fun. All right, stop share. We'll argue over the Final Girls edition. I feel like that one would get wild.
That's where My Bloody Judy ends.
All right, and now each of us have our own personal Ghostface ranking that we want to share with y'all. Right? I do have to add the two killers from 6 because I completely forgot about them. Even though I love Samara Weaving's death. So
we just covered that movie, saw it twice.
We'll put them as like both as like spot 13. So I'm gonna put them as my spot 13. Are you?
Yeah.
Good?
Same.
Okay. What is your spot 12?
Charlie.
Okay. I'll go with Charlie. Spot 11.
Spot 11 is Detective Bailey.
Detective Bailey for me too. Look at us. Look at us. My Bloody Judy.
I mean, I'm getting nervous because once we get up a few spots, I know it's going to be.
I know, but it's okay. It's okay because it's just personal. 10.
Ethan.
Richie.
Okay.
Number 9.
Quinn.
Quinn. Number 8.
Mickey.
Ethan. Number 7.
Amber.
Mickey. I like the little.
I mean,
trippers.
they're
I like
still
what's
close.
happening. Yeah. 6.
Roman.
Amber. 5.
Richie.
Mrs. Loomis.
Ooh.
Richie's number 5 for you? I mean, I guess he had to be somewhere up there, right? Yeah, Mrs. Loomis is 5 for me.
Oh, I thought Mrs. Loomis would be higher for you.
I like the other 4. Number 4.
That's fair. For me, 4 is Nancy Loomis.
Roman. Number 3.
Stu.
Stu for me too. Number 2.
Billy.
And then you want to say number 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Jill Roberts. Fucking love this woman.
I knew the one thing I was sure of going into
Did
this
you?
is we both would have Jill. I knew that.
And you know what? My love for her grows by the day. She's amazing. Emma Roberts, truly deserved to be in one more sequel.
The thing is, like, it sounds stupid and it sounds like a bit, but she really was ahead of her time, right? Like, that
Absolutely. Like 10 years ahead of her time.
Like, that wasn't that big of a thing, being like, oh, followers and like, I need fans. Like, that really wasn't as prevalent as it is now, but like,
she was a trailblazer, you
Yeah,
know?
she was
a trendsetter, and there's going to have to come a Scream movie where the killer does live, you know, and gets away and makes it into another movie. That really should have been Jill. I feel like the time that the movie was made wasn't ready for something like that, but she truly should have lived and had a, like, you want to talk Ghostface v. Ghostface, it would be a Ghostface going after Jill. And she would become a final girl again. Like a target.
I was going to say, it would be like Orphan First Kill. Right.
The genius. Somebody needs to write some fanfic. Let's just rewrite the last couple of them, to be honest. We won't change much. We'll just we'll let Jill be part of it.
And the thing with Jill getting away the thing that I think could have worked is if she got away, but Sydney lived, but Sydney didn't know that Jill was the killer. Like, Sydney just thought it was Charlie. Like, I think that would have worked.
I thought about that, right? Like some sort of because it's a horror movie, brain trauma or something like that, right?
Sure.
I even thought maybe Sydney ends up in a coma, but nobody tells anybody that Sydney's in a coma, not even Jill, right? Like Dewey and Gail keep it very hush-hush secret because they know that somebody would come after her in a coma. Yes. Yeah. And then Sydney doesn't become like Ghostface killing anybody else and only targets Jill. She is targeting Jill for the entire movie. And so the reveal is that Sydney is Ghostface?
It would just be hard to have an
anti-Ghostface.
No one dies. You know what I mean? That would be hard to
So they'd have to mix in another little Ghostface somewhere else.
Maybe Jill's also killing people.
Extra plot. Yes, that would be great. And then maybe halfway or 2/3 way through the movie, Jill realizes somebody is actually after her as well. Listen. We should have met
Hire
about
us.
10 years ago.
We're a little late.
We'd have
but-
done it. We'd have done it. We'd have done it. Okay, stay tuned for the fanfic. Well, this was one of our shorter episodes, actually.
Yeah, this is what happens.
38 minutes.
We mostly agree.
I know. It's not fun for the audience, but let us know your personal Ghostface ranking down in the comments below or on Instagram, Twitter, whatever have you. And let us know if you agreed with our sort of tier ranking. And if you didn't, why? Give us your reasoning, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye. And if you like the My Bloody Judy Ghostface ranking, you'll want to check out my article over at our sponsors, horrorpress.com, ranking all the Ghostfaces with reasonings, motives, quotes, and commentary. And you'll want to check out my upcoming spoilery Scream 6 review that'll be dropping on the website soon.